Welcome back to Animals Comparison. There's a photo that keeps resurfacing online every few months. A harpy eagle perched on a gloved forearm, crest raised, staring straight into the camera, with people in the comments insisting it must be edited. It isn't. That's Harpia harpia, a rainforest bird found from southern Mexico down to northern Argentina, and it's the reason this matchup gets requested more than almost any other. It's also the reason most people already think they know the answer before they hear the second name. The second name is Aquila audax, the wedge-tailed eagle, Australia's largest bird of prey, one of the most numerous large eagles on the planet, and a bird most people outside Australia wouldn't recognize if it landed on their car. It's lighter than the harpy, its feet are smaller, its talons are shorter. On paper, it loses, and loses clearly. It's also the only eagle on Earth with a documented history of attacking and destroying aircraft. Two things before we dive in. First, these two birds have never met, different hemispheres, no overlap in range, and zero recorded encounters between them. Nothing in this video describes something that actually happened. What follows is a breakdown of build, range, hunting style, and temperament, followed by an honest attempt to reason toward an answer. Second, that answer depends on a factor most comparison videos skip entirely. Not size, not weaponry, terrain. Size and build. A large female harpy eagle weighs around 20 pounds, or 9 kilograms. A large female wedge-tailed eagle weighs around 11.7 pounds, or 5.3 kilograms. Keep that gap in mind for everything that follows. The harpy is close to double the mass, and mass is one advantage that skill alone doesn't cancel out. Harpy weights actually range from 8.8 to 20 pounds, or 4 to 9 kilograms, and most of that spread comes down to sex rather than individual variation. Males sit around 8.8 to 10.6 kilograms, while females run to nearly double that. When most people picture a harpy eagle, they're picturing a female. The males are actually closer in size to a large wedge-tail than to their own mates. Wedge-tails split by sex too, just less dramatically. Males run to 7 to 8.8 kilograms, or 3.2 to 4 pounds, and females 9.3 to 11.7 kilograms, or 4.2 to 5.3 pounds, according to the Australian Museum. Then there are the wings, where the comparison stops being intuitive. The harpy's wingspan runs 5'9" to 7'4", or 176 to 224 centimeters. The wedge-tails is typically around 7'6", or 2.3 meters, with a normal range of 5'11" to 8'2", or 1.8 to 2.5 meters. The heavier bird has the shorter wings, and that's by design. The harpy hunts inside the forest, beneath the canopy, in a cluttered space full of trunks, branches, and vines. Long wings there just catch on things. Short, broad wings generate lift at low speed and let the bird pivot sharply in tight spaces, exactly what the job requires. The wedge-tail has the opposite problem. It needs to stay airborne over open country for hours without burning much energy, which calls for long wings and a lighter frame. Neither wing shape is an upgrade of the other. They're answers to completely different questions, and each would be nearly useless in the other bird's world. The longest wingspan ever recorded on any eagle belongs to a wedge-tail, 9'4", or 2.84 meters, measured on a Tasmanian female in 1931. A second female from the same era measured 9'2", or 2.79 meters. You'll see 10-foot claims floating around online. None of them have ever been verified. Body length is closer than the weight gap suggests. Harpies run 34 to 42 inches, or 86.5 to 107 centimeters. Wedge-tails run 39 to 47 inches, or 100 to 120 centimeters, with a good chunk of that extra length coming from tail feathers. The feet are where the gap becomes lopsided again. A harpy's tarsus, the lower leg, reaches about 5 inches thick, and its rear talons measure roughly 4 to 5 inches, or 10 to 13 centimeters, which Audubon compares to a grizzly bear's claws. One published breakdown gives adult females an average of 4.8 inches and males 3.4 inches. Online claims of 7-inch talons aren't backed by any measured source. Grip strength gets thrown around a lot too, and it shouldn't be trusted blindly. San Diego Zoo's page cites both several hundred pounds of pressure and over 50 kilograms in the same breath, and those aren't the same figure. Nobody has properly measured harpy grip strength. What we do know for certain, prey bones fail on impact. That's the part worth building on. Visually, the harpy is slate gray above and white below, with a double crest that rises when it's alert and flattens when it's calm, giving it two completely different looks depending on mood. Adult wedge-tails are blackish-brown and keep darkening for at least their first 10 years, so the darkest birds in any given area tend to be the oldest. Their legs are feathered all the way down to the toes, and their long wedge-shaped tail, unique among the genus Aquila, is what makes them identifiable in silhouette from a distance. Audax, fittingly, means bold. One correction before moving on. The harpy is often called the strongest eagle in the world, but that's not actually established fact. What ornithologists say is that it ranks among the most powerful eagles relative to body size, alongside the Philippine eagle and the crowned eagle, a more accurate, better supported claim. Habitat and range. On the Nullarbor Plain, treeless limestone with no surface water for hundreds of miles, the flattest large stretch of ground in Australia, you'll find wedge-tailed eagles. You'll also find them in alpine Tasmania, tropical woodland on Cape York, over wheat paddocks, along highways scattered with roadkill, and circling the outer suburbs of Australian cities. The species occupies nearly every terrestrial habitat on the continent, plus Tasmania and southern New Guinea, with a clear preference for open or lightly timbered country, good sightlines, room to soar, and reliable thermals. That flexibility shows in its conservation status. The IUCN lists the wedge-tailed eagle as least concern, and it's often described as the most common large eagle in the world. Lifespan runs 30 to 45 years. The one exception is Tasmania, where the local subspecies A.A.flay is federally listed as endangered. The harpy's range looks completely different. Lowland tropical rainforest stretching from southern Mexico through Central America into the Amazon and northern Argentina. And not just any rainforest. It needs tall, emergent trees rising above the canopy to perch on. Remove those, and the eagle disappears, even if the rest of the forest is still standing. That's already happened across much of Central America, which is why the IUCN lists the harpy as vulnerable. Lifespan runs 25 to 35 years, and it breeds so slowly that a lost population doesn't recover on any timescale people would actually notice. Set the two ranges side by side, and something falls out that has nothing to do with conservation status. One of these birds spends its entire life under a forest canopy. The other spends most of its day over open ground, often at real altitude, in air the first bird never has reason to enter. Hunting. How and what? A harpy eagle can sit motionless on a branch for 23 hours straight. That figure comes from San Diego Zoo, and it's not an outlier. It's the whole method. The bird isn't searching for prey. It's waiting for the forest to bring something past, turning an entire day of stillness into roughly 4 seconds of action. While it waits, it watches. A harpy can spot something under an inch, 2 centimeters across, from nearly 220 yards away. And it can rotate its head fully upside down to track movement below it. When it commits, it moves through the forest rather than above it. Harpies essentially never soar over the canopy. Inside the trees, they can hit roughly 50 miles per hour or 80 kilometers per hour in a chase, and those short, broad wings let them climb almost straight up, meaning prey can be struck from below just as easily as from above. For anything living in the canopy, there's no safe direction. Its main targets are other tree dwellers. Sloths and monkeys make up most of the diet, with opossums, porcupines, young deer, snakes, and iguanas filling in the rest. Over 100 prey species have been documented, which is a wide menu for an ambush specialist confined to one habitat. Then there's carrying capacity, probably the cleanest single comparison in this whole video. A harpy eagle can regularly fly off with prey weighing 15.4 pounds, or 7 kilograms, and has been recorded carrying loads up to 20 pounds, or 9 kilograms, roughly its own body weight. Females have been observed pulling full-grown howler monkeys and sloths straight out of the trees and flying off without ever touching the ground. Anything too heavy gets hauled to a stump or low branch and eaten there in stages. Pairs divide labor. The larger females go after sloths and monkeys, while the smaller, faster males target more abundant small prey. Splitting the workload this way lets a breeding pair draw from two food sources instead of competing for one. A big part of why the nest stays fed in a habitat where prey is scattered and hard to find. The wedge-tail hunts an entirely different landscape and hunts it differently. It's most active in the early morning, either soaring once thermals build, quartering low over open ground, or perching and dropping on whatever passes below. Its main prey today is the European rabbit, an introduced species that arrived in the 1800s and now, in effect, keeps Australia's largest raptor fed. Wombats, bandicoots, possums, bilbies, lizards, and smaller birds round out the diet. Before rabbits spread across the continent, the diet leaned more heavily on native marsupials, shifting as those populations declined. Under ideal conditions, a wedge-tail can lift just over 50% of its own body weight, a figure from the Australian Museum. Compare that to the harpy's roughly 100%, and the gap is stark. One bird can fly off with prey its own size. The other manages 5 or 6 pounds and has to leave the rest behind. So the wedge-tail solves the problem somewhere other than raw lifting power. It hunts alone, in pairs, or in loose groups, and a group working together can take down animals as large as adult kangaroos, even though they're unable to lift anything close to that weight. The documented tactics are specific: driving goats along steep hillsides until one loses its footing and falls, or pushing flocks of sheep or mobs of kangaroos until a weaker animal separates from the group. Whatever isn't eaten immediately gets cached on nearby branches and returned to later. Juveniles behave more like vultures than eagles. Up to 20 can gather around a single carcass, though only 2 or 3 feed at once, while the rest wait for their turn. Two very different hunters then. One built around a single explosive ambush strike, the other built around persistence, altitude, and, when it helps, teamwork.
Behavior and temperament. Between 2015 and 2016, the Goldfields St. Ives gold mine near Kambalda in Western Australia lost 10 survey drones. One went down to human error. The other 9 were taken out of the sky by wedge-tailed eagles. The Sydney Morning Herald reported the cost to the company at over $100,000 as of November 2016. The aircraft were Trimble UX-5s, built from foam and carbon fiber, cruising at roughly 410 feet, 125 meters, and speeds up to 57 miles per hour, 92 kilometers per hour, with a wingspan of about 3 feet 3 inches, 1 meter. The eagles attacking them had wingspans more than double that. From below, a UX-5 apparently reads as some mix of intruder and opportunity. The mine's surveyor Rick Stephen called the wedge-tailed eagle the natural enemy of the UAV, a strong statement from someone whose job is aerial mapping. He tried painting the drones to look like baby eagles on the theory that adults wouldn't attack a chick. It worked for about 50 flights before the birds figured it out. The eventual fix, according to the Herald, was flying early in the morning before thermals form and the eagles can get airborne cheaply. That worked, but it degraded the survey imagery, since the best shots need high sun. The eagles never stopped the mapping program, they just made it permanently slower and more expensive. Stives wasn't alone. Drone operator Daniel Parfit lost a fixed-wing aircraft worth around $80,000 in the outback, a machine with a 7-foot wingspan he'd assumed was simply too large to be worth attacking. An eagle dive-bombed it, and in his words, punched it out of the sky. What came down were splinters. The Peregrine Fund notes something similar. The wedge-tailed eagle is the only bird with a reputation for attacking hang gliders and paragliders, tearing at the fabric with its talons. Here's the detail that matters and that most people skim past. Plenty of birds harass drones. Crows, gulls, other raptors approach, posture, escort the intruder out of their airspace and leave. What they almost never do is make contact.
Wedge-tailed eagles repeatedly hit fast-moving objects mid-flight and destroy them. Almost nothing else with feathers has that on record. The rest of the bird's temperament lines up with that behavior. Wedge-tails are territorial and monogamous, apparently for life, with breeding pairs holding their nesting ground year-round rather than seasonally. Their nests are massive, even by eagle standards, up to 6 feet 6 inches across and 10 feet deep, weighing over 880 pounds, 400 kilograms, after being added to season after season, and built as high as 130 feet off the ground. They also get mobbed constantly. Magpies, butcherbirds, and noisy miners regularly go after wedge-tailed eagles, and birds a fraction of the eagle's size can genuinely make its day difficult. Worth remembering for later, size alone doesn't guarantee control of the air. The harpy runs the opposite way on nearly every axis. It's solitary, sedentary, and built around conserving energy whenever possible. It's silent for most of the year, vocal mainly during breeding season, and stays under the canopy so consistently that people living in harpy country can go their whole lives without spotting one. Researchers searching for harpies often find nests before they ever find birds. Pair bonds last, breeding is slow, and everything gets invested into raising one chick at a time. It's the national bird of Panama, and its name comes from the harpies of Greek mythology, winged creatures that snatched people from the ground and carried them off. Given what this bird actually does to a sloth, the name holds up better than most. Here's something most comparison videos skip entirely. Fights between large raptors rarely play out the way people imagine. Disputes between big birds of prey are usually settled through display, positioning, and harassment, rather than physical contact. One bird claims the height, makes repeated passes, and the lower bird eventually backs off. Locked talons and full grappling matches are rare, because contact is a bad deal even for the winner. A raptor with a damaged wing doesn't just hunt less effectively, it starves. Both species carry that risk avoidance in their behavior because the lineages that ignored it simply left fewer descendants. So the real question isn't just who wins if it comes to contact, it's whether contact happens at all and which bird gets to set the terms. Inside closed forest, the harpy wins, and not narrowly. It carries nearly double the mass. Its rear talons are roughly twice as long, mounted on legs far thicker than anything the wedge-tail is built to resist. It flies through three-dimensional clutter for a living, turns tighter, climbs almost vertically, and can strike from below just as easily as from above. Meanwhile, the wedge-tail's 7'6" or 2.3-meter wingspan, the exact feature that makes it so effective over open country, becomes a liability it has to protect from every branch it passes. A bird that routinely rips 20-pound howler monkeys out of trees isn't going to be troubled by a 12-pound eagle fighting on unfamiliar terrain. Open sky reverses almost all of that. The wedge-tail can stay airborne for hours on thermals at almost no energy cost, carrying a lighter body on longer wings. It can climb, hold altitude, and keep working long after the harpy has run out of options. The harpy doesn't soar, it isn't built for it. Its wings are made for short, powerful bursts inside cover, and above the canopy it becomes a heavy animal with limited endurance in a place it has no business being. Its eyesight and burst speed stay excellent up there, but neither matters for a bird that can't reach the altitude where the fight is actually happening. Nearly everything the harpy is good at requires being level with or above its opponent, and in open sky it simply can't get there and stay there. And then there's the track record. Of every eagle species on Earth, exactly one has a documented history of closing in on fast-moving airborne targets and actually hitting them, not just approaching, hitting. Remember the magpies too. A wedge-tail spends part of its life getting harassed from above by birds it could kill instantly and still loses those exchanges. Run that same dynamic in reverse and you get a sense of the shape of this encounter. So the verdict comes in two parts because that's what the evidence actually supports. If the fight reaches contact, the harpy wins. A 2-to-1 mass advantage combined with the largest talons of any living eagle isn't a gap that flying skill alone closes. Anywhere the harpy gets a grip, it's over fast. But in open air, a wedge-tail is unlikely to ever let it get that close. It would do exactly what it does to drones and paragliders. Take the height, dive, strike, and repeat from a position the harpies simply can't climb on those wings. The harpy wouldn't have an answer, not because it's outclassed, but because the fight is happening somewhere its entire toolkit doesn't apply. Which is really the honest answer to the whole question. Neither of these birds evolved with the other in mind. One is the best solution nature came up with for catching monkeys inside a rainforest. The other is the best solution for finding food across a dry, open continent from 1,000 feet up. Both solutions work perfectly in their own world. Neither was ever designed for this matchup. The only reason it feels close at all is that we insisted on asking the question. That's our full breakdown of wedge-tailed eagle versus harpy eagle here on Animals Comparison. Two completely different birds built for two completely different worlds. So which one do you think would actually come out on top? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this one, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next matchup. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.